Real exciting day today. Have an opportunity to play in the Pinstripe Bowl against Iowa. Just a great opportunity for our football program, for our fans, for our alumni. That's our home base footprint for us, right? Part of our footprint includes New Jersey, New York. It's huge for us in recruiting. We're playing against an outstanding opponent, a classy organization in Iowa. We have a chance to play in one of the elite bowls. We've been there before, and we know what that's like. Randy Levine, who's in charge of that bowl, is one of the class guys that's in the bowl business right now. His reputation is phenomenal, obviously, with an elite organization like the Yankees. Mark Holtzman will have direct contact as the person that actually runs the day-to-day of the bowl, and those guys are phenomenal. They're great guys. They love sports. They love New York. They love football, and they love Boston College. And so we couldn't be more thrilled and more happy to be playing in this bowl. Our kids, right along, if you asked our kids, they'd tell you, where do you want to be? And they'd say, we want to be in New York and play in the Pinstripe Bowl. And I don't know that there's anything better than being in New York that time of year. To me, it doesn't get better than that. You're talking about New York at Christmas time. You're talking about playing in one of the storied great venues. We've had a chance to play in a couple of them, and that's so exciting. I'm sure, like a couple years ago, this will be one of the hottest tickets in the bowl season, and will become an electric atmosphere in that stadium. I know our fans will be really, really excited, our alums, to have a chance to, in their backyard, to be able to go watch their college football team play against another great college football team at Yankee Stadium. So all of this has been simply fantastic. And, you know, you look at our team, the makeup of our team. We got so many guys from the area. We have so many in recruiting. It's so huge to us. And guys that are in our program, guys coming into our program, are a huge makeup of our football team. So, you know, we're anxious. We've had a couple practices. We're anxious to keep going here and just keep getting ready for this, developing our football team and getting ready for this opportunity. You know, we're one of two football programs in Power 5 in the Northeast that are playing in bowl games this winter, and you know, we're proud to be representing Northeast football in the Power 5, and so it's a great honor for us. And we have so many great players, and they love football, they love competing, and they couldn't be more excited about this opportunity. So with that, any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Just raise your hand a bit, the microphone's here. Hi, Coach. Dan Rubin from BSeagles.com. When did you first kind of get an inkling that the Pinstripe Bowl was either on the table, or, you know, when did you start to realize that that was going to be your reality, and how exciting was it as it started to dawn on you?
Well, Martin notified me that we were in the Pinstripe, and in my world, that's when I say we're in the Pinstripe. But quite frankly, I tease Mark Holtzman all the time. I see him, I'm like, we're your team. You know, I start that at the media days, down at the ACC media days, because I love Mark. I love Randy. You know, they're great people, you know. And I don't know, I just feel like it's such a great fit for us, you know. And so I'm always thinking about the Pinstripe Bowl. But to tell you the truth, like, when did I really know that we had a shot to be in it for real? When I got that phone call. Otherwise, to me, it's always speculative. There's so many twists and turns that happen in college football right now. You just never know, you know. But I think if you pooled our team, you know, after last Saturday's game, in their minds, that's where they wanted to be, and that's where they hoped they'd be. And so I'm just thrilled to death that they're going to have that opportunity.
You mentioned Power 5. Does the ACC Big Ten matchup kind of enhance this a little bit to you?
Absolutely. You know, I mean, it's you're talking about, you know, two great conferences, and you know, having a chance to play a great program like Iowa. Kirk Ferentz, I've known for a long time, and just an established, phenomenal football coach who's built a great football program. That's a prideful, classy football program that's in a proud conference, and they'll travel and have a big contingency that will be there. And I think, you know, I was on the road recruiting all last week, and I was actually in that area, and that's all, every high school I went into. People, all they said was, man, I hope we get to see you guys play Iowa in the Pinstripe Bowl. I think you're talking about two hard-nosed, tough football teams that are going to square off in that game. People in Yankee Stadium on December 27th, people want to see that game. So, that's kind of the feel that I've had, and so certainly to represent the ACC, which is the premier conference in America, and have it be represented against an elite conference like the Big Ten, and play a great matchup opponent. I think everybody's excited about that.
How do you plan on using your 15 practices? Some team building and then focus on Iowa, or do you have it kind of broken down yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be, it's fundamental development and growth, and then at a certain point, like for example, this Saturday, we'll have a little piece of Iowa in there, and then the following Monday, we're still finalizing all that right now. We'll put a little bit more piece of Iowa in there, but I'd like to get a solid 7 of straight fundamentals. A lot of individual, a lot of semi-group work, a lot of program player development. I want the practices to be short. I don't want them to be long. I'd like to keep it in the early stages of never practicing more than 2 days in a row, because I want the kids, never feel like that's drudgery. I want it to feel like we're going to get better. It's going to be short, but we're going to improve, keep them as fresh as we can keep them. And then, of course, as we get closer, our model here has always been, it's something that I've been a part of for a long time, is, you back away from the game. We have a game week, a normal game week, a couple of days off, and then another game week. And so we'll keep that model. But leading up to that is where I like to keep it not more than 2 days in a row. Practice is short, heavy on the fundamentals, and a slow build into Iowa. But don't forget to develop your young players, because one of the greatest things about a bowl is having a chance to have another spring football practice. And so you want the young guys to continue to be coached hard and developed full-time by our staff, and not just turn it into a 15 or whatever practice scheme-a-thon.
Coach Mike Galtieri, talk about Jim Reed. He was on Iowa staff. How does that help you this year?
Well, having Jim Reed helps us just having Jim Reed. In terms of how it pertains to Iowa, I mean, I think he gives great clarity to, he has an unbelievable amount of respect for Kirk Ferentz. He has an unbelievable amount of respect for their program and how it's run, and the culture of their program. So, I mean, I think the good news is he was up close and personal with it, but a lot of us have brushed up against it over the years, and certainly, honestly have just the utmost respect. But Coach Reed puts real, hands-on clarity for that. So I think that's where, and an understanding, certainly he's been here for 2 years, so he still has certainly an understanding of, personnel and guys. But to be clear, I mean, Coach is just, from the day he got here, his respect for that football program has been clear and sincere and upfront. So, but he's a BC Eagle, and we're gonna rock and roll and get ready to play a great football game against him. Julian,
congratulations. You talked about the recruiting footprint from obviously the New York area, but you go there 3 years ago, and what was the impact of just playing that game in that area in front of those people? And then how much is it different now? Because, 3 years ago, you were your second year on the job, your program on the uptick. Now you took some lumps, now you're coming right back. You know what I mean? Like, how much is it different now than it was before?
The buzz about our football program right now nationally, and especially in that area, is the best I've ever seen it. And all I can tell you is what I experienced myself and our coaches on the road. They came. We had a meeting here on Friday morning. We had a big recruiting weekend, and that was the talk in the staff room about how much buzz there is about our football program, where it is and where it's heading, and how electric it's becoming, and what the future looks like. So there was a similar vibe 2 years ago when we went down there, but I think we had an older team then, and now we've got a mix of some older guys and a lot of young guys. And I also think that, at that time, there was an energy level about how well, maybe as, just phenomenal how well our BC fans traveled and how they represented Boston College at that game. And a lot of people came away from that game and said, wow, it was really impactful, how excited the BC family, the alumni, the fans were about being in New York. And I think that springboarded in a lot of people's eyes how well we'll travel and be represented in this game. So I think, a lot of things, were accomplished there. And I think also that game helped lay the foundation for a lot of the marquee players that we're playing with right now. And that's all part of it. And, in our business, there are immediate effects, but there's also, it's more 2 years later, 3 years later, as those classes, that recruiting class and those classes start to develop and grow, you feel the effects of these things. And the impact of us having the year that we had this year and what the future forecasts is an unbelievable tool to put on display and to continue to build buzz as we roll into New York and play Iowa and get ready for our future. So, it's a great scenario, and what a great venue for all that to happen.
Is it funny looking back and saying, like, not only did we get out of that hole, but we had our eyes on it.
I think the way I looked at it from the beginning was I always believed in our football program. I think I said that to you guys. I had some commentary that got picked up on, but I always had confidence in where we were and where we were headed. We had to overcome a bunch of adversity is what we had to do with the loss of a lot of players. And the way we handled that spoke to the glue and the foundation of which this thing is built on right now. So that was always something that was very encouraging to me. And when I made the statement, it's going to be beautiful, that's really what I was saying, even in the face of people maybe looking, saying, what's this guy talking about? Because there was a great foundation. And I felt terrific about our players and where we were headed. And, of course, this is a bottom-line business, and it gets reflected in wins and losses. But when you're playing at that time, right now we play in the top 12 schedule in America. At that time was the number 2 schedule in America. Playing who we were playing in the side of the conference that we play on, in the conference that we play in, undergoing the injuries that we took on, yeah, I'm real proud of that now. And I could see, these guys will tell you better than me, they knew it too. That's why this thing the glue was really tight, because the mindset wasn't, will it happen? It was, we just got to get it happen now, and we're not going to let any of these setbacks get us down. That's the real mark of a foundation and of a chemistry. That's really what it is. And so, we have a chance right now to go out and get our 8th win. We have a chance right now to get 6 out of 7. The last time that happened here was 25 years ago, okay? So, we haven't done it yet. But what we have done is established what that chemistry is, what that foundation is, and even coming through what we've come through. We played against Syracuse down 10 starters. I know everybody doesn't like to hear that, but that's fairly immense. One of them being your quarterback, okay? But you never saw the energy level, the intensity level, or the glue of this football program dip. It didn't happen. In fact, a lot of people in the business would tell you, during that process, we continued in a lot of areas to actually improve. And I think that speaks directly to where it is. So I'm kind of jacked about what we went through. Not naive about it, but kind of jacked about it, because I think really what it did was make us stronger and really help the growth of what our future will be in a different kind of way. Do you know what I mean? To go through that and to pull through that, speak to them, I think gives you a confidence level. It gives you a feeling that you can overcome and nothing's going to stop you. And I think that's all part of it. That stuff in college football is huge. Everybody wants to talk about all this other stuff. They don't understand that. Why do some teams slide at the end of the year? Why did some teams accelerate at the end of the year? Why did we finish the season the least penalized team in America? Why did all that happen? That's the real stuff that you got to look at. And so, if you can tell, am I excited? Yeah, I'm real excited. And we got a lot of work to do. And we're still going to be, it's not like we're getting all these players back or anything like that for this game. But that's okay. It is what it is. We're going to keep developing what we have to develop, and we're going to use this this is all a building block and a springboard. That's what all this is. And you got to keep it in that right mindset, man. Every day, we're going to get a little bit better. Every day. and we're going to attack this thing. You've got to have a small picture and a big picture in mind.
Coach, you touched on it there a little bit at the end. You have a collection of young talent that the national college football audience is maybe going to really get to see for the first time. So how much is this game for you, you know, finishing off 17, getting win number 8 with a balance of a springboard for the future?
Great. I mean, important. But you know what I've realized? They're all important. Every week, right? How important is this one? Oh, my God, so important. How important is it? They're all important. I mean, you get in that, you know what I mean? But I've always also been a believer that one game doesn't make or break you one way or the other, right? I mean, we're going to go and we're going to do everything in our power and we're going to prepare to go get our 8th win. But that game is not going to define us of where we're going. It's just another opportunity. And so, like, that's the way I view this thing, okay? Every one of them is uniquely important because it's another opportunity to win a football game and to grow. But what happens sometimes, as you guys know, especially in the media or on TV, every game becomes larger than life. Every game is really important, but larger than life, I don't know about that. I mean, you know, when you lose, you're devastated. When you win, you're joyous. But at the end of the day, you keep moving forward because where you're headed is really, really important. I like to really, I think I said this way back when, man. I'm a guy that likes to look in the front mirror, in the front windshield, not in the rearview mirror. So I view this as I'm looking through that front windshield, moving forward right now. And our focus is to go get that win. And that's how we'll prepare. And that's what our business will be about.
Steve, I hate to make you look in the rearview mirror for 1 second, but you know, last time you were here in New York, does that add any added momentum to and added motivation for you and the senior class to want to come away with a win?
Good question. Answer it honestly, right? Sure. I mean, human nature. We walked away from that game. I mean, we felt like we had that game. And that's probably more me than maybe some of the older guys. Some of the other guys weren't here. But sure, different day, different year, different team. But you know what? Yeah. I mean, that was an electric atmosphere. And that was disappointing for everybody, you know. We played our tails off in that game. So, sure.
Coach, A.J. Dillon, a local kid you recruited who stayed home, had a really dynamic year this year. Can you talk about how his success is going to help you in local recruiting going forward?
I mean, it's hard for me to tell you it's everything. I mean, when you get great local talent, you build your program inside out. And when you get a guy to stay home and build a brand and build his platform here in Boston, at Boston College. I mean, you know, John Baker did that, and a lot of guys have done that and will continue to do that. We want to attract the very, very finest Division I football players in the state of Massachusetts and in Rhode Island and in Connecticut and in New Hampshire and in New York and in New Jersey. And when we're hitting it, we're hitting it with a nucleus of guys within our 4-hour radius. And then, of course, as you get closer, it gets even more significant. And I think there's nothing better. And I think AJ understood that. I mean, talking about, you know, he understood the fact I'm going to get an elite education, understood the fact that I'm going to play against the very finest competition there is in America. I think he also understood the fact that he was going to be utilized in an offense that was going to feature a back at the top of the eye like that. And I think that he also understood that this is one of the largest media markets in the world. And we saw in front of our own eyes when I got here a guy that essentially, you know, really came from relatively unknown, and in a short 6, 7, 8 months became a runner-up for the Heisman Trophy in just 5 years ago. So I think I love to see young men make great decisions. Not decisions based off of things that don't matter, but really matter. So that's a track record for other young men to look at now and say, wow, look at that. What a great decision that was. Look how successful that was. So it helps your program in every single way. It helps you in everything you can imagine. Not the least of which is, as we want to build our attendance here at Boston College, marquee players, big-time players, attract people to want to come into your stadium to watch. That's just a fact. And there are certain skill positions that, as we all know, lend to that. And they get too much credit, they get too much hype, but at the end of the day, people want to come see marquee players. So I think there's the effect of, increasing our attendance. There's the effect of recruiting and the effect of keeping more people around home. And so I think all those things work together. Who will be the next one? You know what I mean? And let's keep getting that done. And that's the effect of building your program. And it's a process, and it's been a process, and we got to keep doing that.